So I don't know if you want to touch on that for Airbnb.
So I started 2007, was it 2016? I can't remember. I want to say 16. I'm still currently doing it now. So from now to then, the thing that has changed the most is that we have these, like I mentioned before, multi-million dollar corporations are in this space now, and they come in and they get 200 units at a time, which drowns out my little 10 units, and they control the pricing. So back in 2016, 2017, I was charging people $250 per night for my 692 square foot apartment because it was in a high rise, and people were paying it, and not to mention a $50 cleaning fee. So people were booking 5, 6, 7 nights at a time. And so like I said, my rent was $1,510. I would make like $4,000 on that one apartment, subtract the rent. I'm still profiting over $3K on just my own apartment. So I missed that the most. And you mentioned the pandemic. When the pandemic first hit, I woke up literally to 10,000 something dollars worth of cancellations. And one day, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna make it." But luckily, I wasn't spending all my money at the time, so I did make it through the pandemic. It has since then recovered, but yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that again, man, because that was stressful. Like literally, I've been doing over $200,000 a year for like the last 3 years, and I'm not rich by no means because I spend a lot of money because when you get it the way it was coming, you feel like, okay, this is never going to stop. So I knew as long as I kept my rent money for all these places, I could spend whatever else I wanted. So I told you I would have months where I'm making 23K, 16K, 18K. I'm spending it because I'm like, it's gonna come forever like this. And the pandemic showed me that wasn't the case. But so now I know to save more than I spend. What else happened since then? Airbnb has gotten a lot more guest friendly than they are towards the host. They fight you tooth and nail for every type of fee. They have guests that literally will book it, stay in your place, and if they know the system, they can get a whole refund after they check out. Like I've seen people complain about guests who are getting refunds now from stays in June. If you get a seasoned Airbnb guest that know how to work the system, they can get refunds. And if you're like a new host, they're going to get over on you every time. So you have to watch out for that also. People will play the system if they know how.
Me, you know what I mean? If I were to go rent somebody else's car, I know the system good enough that I can say, hey, listen, when I got in the car, the check engine light was on. And I just turned all the lights on the dash on, and you can't even tell. You might not take a picture of that. You know what I mean? If you don't take a picture of the outside of the car and I get into an accident, you'd be like, yo, you caused that accident. I'd be like, well, prove it. Where the picture's at? Or you didn't take a picture of the mileage, and you say I went over an extra 1,000 miles or something like that. So I think, like I said, the best thing I did was find a mentor who prepared me for all of that. You know what I mean? He taught me all the tricks and the tips to the game to just kind of protect myself. And the thing he said, he goes, listen, you're going to make a mistake. And that's why I kind of stayed with low value cars. And he goes, the more expensive your car is, when you make that mistake, the more it's going to cost you. You know what I mean? So you got to plan for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got to plan for, losing money. Like, I messed up one time really bad, and I lost like $7,000 on one thing where I forgot to renew the registration on one of my cars, right? And this girl who had gotten into an accident in one of my cars before, and I still let her because, I don't know, I mean, she was a nice girl and she had, a young kid or whatever. She totaled my car and got into an accident with somebody else, but the car wasn't registered. It was insured, but it wasn't registered. So they towed my car. I had all type of tickets and fees. I had to go to the courthouse. Luckily, they kind of understood. So Turo didn't pay me out for that because the car wasn't registered. I just literally, I fucked up. You know what I mean? Having all those cars, I messed up. You know what I mean? And then, the other person she hit, then wanted to sue me. And I was just like, okay, I can tell my insurance company and let them pay it, but that's going to raise all the rest of my cars. I got 20 cars. So I had to pay out of pocket, find the lady and just pay out of pocket for her car. The damage wasn't too bad, but you're going to make mistakes when you run business. You know what I mean? And again, like, when I saw 15 grand, like, $15,000 in a business ain't the same as $15,000 as being an employee. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in a business, like, that money goes by fast. Like, before COVID, I had like 50, 60 grand in my bank account. And I don't mind telling y'all, like, I ain't never seen money move that fast. You know what I'm saying? No lie. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, I got 6 months of all my bills here. Like, I'm straight. And I should have had a year. You know what I'm saying? And I was still able to be okay. But if I didn't do that, and I was still thinking like I was at a job and I only was living paycheck to paycheck or month to month, and like I got 3 weeks or something like that, I'd have been in serious trouble when COVID hit. You know what I'm saying? So it was the customers still were kind of there, but it was kind of crazy. Like I didn't want to leave my house. You know what I mean? I was nervous about the COVID shit. Like I'm letting people rent my car. Like what if somebody gets sick at one of my cars, or you know what I'm saying? And then I go and bring it to my parents. What if I don't clean the car good enough and then they say they got COVID for my car? And like, so like I let my car sit for 3 months because I thought COVID was going to be over after the summer. And I was just like, let me just remove myself from all the liability. And I didn't make no money. And I could have made money if I would have rented my cars out, but I just put them all on snooze. So I wouldn't say that it's particular to this business. I would think that's any business. You know what I'm saying? There's ups and downs. I think COVID made the downs bigger than they usually are, but you got to be prepared for that for sure because we don't get bailouts like the big companies do from the government. You know what I mean? Even though we got that little loan thing, but I didn't even want to mess with that too because I don't play no games with those people. But that's it.